The Russian occupiers continue destroying the Kharkiv region as usual. They hit residential buildings, 2 people were killed and 1 more was wounded. They do not leave alone the Odessa region either. The missile destroyed several household buildings and a residential area. The fire burned 500 square meters, 6 people were wounded, among them 1 child. Earlier, 2 more missiles were fired at Odessa.
Ворог нанес ракетный удар по области 2 ракетами.
The enemy launched 2 missile strikes. All of them were shot down by our air defense units.
This is footage of a multi-story building in Kiev that was destroyed the day before as the result of a Russian missile attack. A shell demolished the top 2 floors. A little girl was among 6 victims. Her father was killed and her mother was trapped by a concrete slab.
She has several superficial wounds on her neck, parotid area, and bruises on her torso, limbs and face. It was all treated. Now, thank God, her life is not in danger.
A total of 25 people were evacuated from the destroyed house. Among them is Irina from Severodonetsk with 4 animals. The Russian occupiers have already deprived her of her home twice. I see that you are very nervous. Even this had the first challenge for you? Yes, we are from Severodonetsk. There were 113 rescuers and 22 units of equipment involved in the rescue operation and debris removal. It is most likely that people will no longer be able to live in this house. A missile also hit the kindergarten. The blast wave knocked out all the glass and window frames. Fortunately, no one was wounded.
Russian barbarians continue to launch missiles into houses and kindergartens. The enemy gets even angrier and wants to sow panic among the people. Let us remain vigilant and continue to adhere the elementary rules that can save lives.
2 Russian missiles also hit the Cherkasy region. The railroad tracks were destroyed, 1 person was killed and 5 more were wounded. Russian occupiers fired mortars more than 100 times in the Sumy region. No casualties were reported. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry called on the international community to respond harshly to the shelling of civilians. In their opinion, the response for Russia has to consist of 2 parts at once.
The first is the tightening of sanctions to prevent the Russian Federation from producing and maintaining high-tech weapons, which now contain many components supplied by companies from NATO countries. The second is the rapid deployment of an effective air defense system in Ukraine. This is an additional 500 to 1,000 kilometers of security for each European city. Alexei Reznikov, Minister of Defense of Ukraine.
Fierce fighting continues in the east of the country. After capturing Severodonetsk, the enemy concentrated on Lysychansk. The Russian occupiers use their usual tactic of wiping cities off the face of the earth. They bombard them with aviation and heavy artillery. In spite of these, 6 more residents were evacuated from the region. Ukrainian positions are also coming under enemy fire in almost all directions. However, servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine are fighting back with dignity.
Сили оборони України завдають...
The Ukrainian defense forces are inflicting losses on the enemy in all directions. Therefore, the invaders are trying by any means to avoid combat operations. Due to the refusal to return to the territory of Ukraine by a significant part of the occupiers, who were withdrawn to restore combat readiness, the command of certain units prohibited any leave for the personnel.
According to the General Staff, Russia is again increasing its military presence in Belarus. In particular, it is building up its aviation for the possible bombing. It is also preparing sabotage and reconnaissance groups for further actions on the territory of Ukraine. Reported by Ksenia Buha, Alexander Belov, UATV News.